Welcome back. Let's get started on chapter 1, exercise 1 specifically. Before we do the exercises for this book, though, it tells us what you need. You do need the Chrome browser, and most of you probably already have it. If not, go ahead and download it. And we will be doing a little bit of stuff that requires that we have Chrome on it, but the rest of the browsers will be up to you generally. And we should get the applications for this textbook as well. It tells you how to do this back in Appendix A, but I'm going to walk through it with you. And if I go to murach.com, murach.com, I can come find this HTML5 and CSS3 4th edition. If it doesn't show up here, you can go to Shop Books and Web Design Books and find it there. And Murach's there. And if I come down the page, I should be able to see a tab for free downloads. And in these free downloads, there's a sample chapter, but you don't really need that. Book applications and exercises, you can choose one of these two, the exe file or the zip file. I will choose, even though I'm using Windows, I'm going to choose the zip file so that I can organize where I want it to be. If I click download now, well, mine went ahead and automatically downloaded for me. You will have to register. Just give them your name and email address. And even if you don't have a copy of the textbook, even if you're using my copy of the textbook, or you're getting one from last semester, you can still get these free downloads. It doesn't require you to put in a PIN or code or anything, a one-time code. So then I get this folder, this 4HTML all files, zipped file, and I need to place those somewhere on my computer. So I'm going to put mine, I have the Spring 2019 folder that I've created, and I'm going to put mine in there. Let me get back to it. And mine automatically went to downloads. Boy, I've got to clean that up. And I'm going to move it over into my Spring 2019. And in my Spring 2019, I'm also then going to extract this folder. So if I hit extract and extract all, that's what I need to do anytime I have a zipped file. So it's going into my Spring 2019, and I'm actually going to get rid of that one after it. Well, you know what? I'm going to call this something else. I'm going to call this book text downloads and extract it. It will extract it fairly quickly. I'm going to pause the recording for just a second. All right, so I have, there it is, this new text downloads folder. And if I click on, whoops, if I click on it, I'll see that there are book apps, book examples, exercises, and solutions. Most of the time in this class, we'll be using the exercises. The solutions are, in fact, solutions to the exercises, but they're not organized really by chapter. Well, they kind of are, but you'd have to do a few changes in order to be able to see that. But you can, in fact, go into this file and see what the chapter 3 index should look like when it's finished. So let's come back here. So these are some examples and apps that you can use throughout the chapter. And as you're reading and following along, the exercises are generally, like I said, the exercises, and then the solutions are there. And those are all of the files that you need from the textbook. I go ahead and keep the zip in case I overwrite something in my text downloads that I didn't want to overwrite. I did something incorrectly, or I need to go back to an earlier state. then I can go back to the all files, to the zipped, and get my originals back. You can also, of course, just make a copy of your originals and have working files and have kind of backup files to get started. It doesn't hurt you at any point to go back and re-download those if you need to. So now that I have the text downloads that I need, you know what, I'm going to make a copy of this. So you all know how to make copies of files and folders, I assume. I'm going to go down to copy and then right click and paste. I need to be careful not to paste the shortcut, but to paste the files themselves. And now I'm going to call this one a working file. And in general, I wouldn't want to have spaces in my file names. You'll see in my others, I don't have spaces. I use underscores most of the time instead. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to use these working files to then do exercise. Well, I don't actually need it right away, but I will soon. Exercise 1.1 has me visiting some internet websites and looking at those. So let's minimize that for a minute. And I don't need that either. Open a new tab. That's for Newton Fork Ranch. Newton Fork Ranch. Whoops. Ranch. Helps if I can type. Into the address bar, press the enter key. So in number 2, it has me typing the whole thing with the www.newtonforkranch.com and looking at it. In number 3, it tells me that I can type in Newton Fork Ranch and then hit Control Enter, which will add the www and the .com to it. I don't know that I think that's really saving me a great deal of time, but it is something that you can do if you're working particularly in Chrome. And it is not moving very quickly. Let's try again. There we go. Newton Fork Ranch, and it has me looking at some things like, boy, this is taking a while. I think a lot of other instructors are probably referring to this one at this point too. Let's see. So this has on number 4, it tells us use the technique in figure 113 to view the source code for the home page. By the way, I'm on page 42. And I'm looking for 115, which is on page 29. And it says to view the HTML source code for a web page, I can right click, do view page source in Chrome, and I think that's what I need to do. Right click and view page source, and that will show me the HTML for this. So this is the kind of HTML that you'll be able to use. We probably won't do, well, we'll be able to do some amount of this. You'll notice up at the top is a doc type, and that just means that I'm using HTML5. And then I open, or the HTML page is opened, and that's a tag. So HTML is in those angle brackets. That's an opening tag. And then I have a head, which opens on line 3 and closes on line 38. One of the nice things about this is they have nice indentation, so I can see where one thing begins and one thing ends. The opening head tag has the angle brackets, or the less than and greater than, and the closing tag has the same, but then it has a slash in front of what it's closing. Inside there, I have some meta tags, a title, links, scripts, and then the body. And in the body, it has various things like images and lists and divs and all kinds of things. And then the body tag is closed and the HTML tag is closed. And that's roughly what any website is going to look like. It's going to have in it. This one's just nice and organized for us. They're not always this organized. Let's see. So we can do that. We can open the CSS code also. If we go on line 6, instruction 6, it tells us to click on the underline value in the href attribute in the second link element. So the first link is just a shortcut icon. The second one, and that shortcut icon, that favicon, by the way, is that little tree up at the top that shows in your tab. The second one, this styles.css, is the style sheet for this page, makes it look like it does. If I click on it, it opens the style sheet. So we can talk about all of these as we move along, but this is what it will look like. And that's how easy it is to see this. But that's not actually the way that I would usually go to it. That's the way the textbook says. But instead, I would look at the HTML and CSS by going to more tools and developer tools. You could do the same thing by right-clicking and going to inspect, or of course Control-Shift-I, or in Chrome I think it's also F12. I'll typically do Control-Shift-I to get there. And you'll see the HTML on the left, and on the right the CSS that applies to that particular code. And I'm going to pause here because it gets us started, and you can do the rest of exercise 1-1 on your own. Yeah, I think I'll just stop this video, and the rest of the exercises, in fact, the rest of the exercises for chapter 1 are just looking at more applications, looking at more examples, and I'll make a video soon that is about your particular Chrome DevTools assignment. And let me know if you have any questions.